Dr. Mez, you co-authored this report, this comprehensive study. And for people who will just see the headlines and be alarmed by the numbers, can you tell us what you thought was the most significant part of your findings?
So, I agree with you. The number is particularly striking. I think the fact that we were able to accumulate as many cases as we did in such a short period of time with almost no recruitment was what was so striking. That being said, I think it's important to realize that this is not a population-based sample, and these numbers aren't necessarily aren't the prevalence of this disease in the general population of football players.
Going off of what you just said, what would you say to people who were to say that this is a cherry-picked small sample size and isn't representative of football at all levels?
So the goal of the study wasn't to get at the prevalence of CTE in the general population of football players. The goal was to provide a large, comprehensive case series of those with CTE and to provide good descriptive details of their clinical presentation, the neuropathological findings, and the extent of their exposure to football.
So the word concussion, it's used a lot as a catch-all for these issues. Does that confuse people from what the real causes of the disease are?
Right. So concussion is the symptoms that result from a blow to the head at the time of the hit. So CTE is a neurodegenerative disease that typically may begin at the time of the hit, but is really symptoms really manifest years later. So the fact that somebody may be symptomatic at the time of the hit is probably, or at least possibly, kind of irrelevant. So I think we're really focused on the fact that these individuals are having repetitive hits to the head, and then developing this neurodegenerative disease years later.
Are we having the right conversation? Are we in the media hitting the right notes to try to get this information across to not just football players who are in the pros, but also to people making decisions about high school football?
The media in general moves a lot faster than the scientific community. So what's so striking is the numbers. Yet we can't. It's not reasonable to say that all or almost all NFL players will go on and develop this disease right now. I think that what this study does establish well is that there is likely a connection between football and CTE, this neurodegenerative disease. And we don't quite yet understand how much exposure is necessary. We do know that there's some heterogeneity in that we are able to find this disease in high school players less commonly, and that we're very likely to find it in the NFL players, but not uniformly. So we don't know who is most at risk of developing this disease outside of their exposure to football. And that makes decision-making early in life for parents and children hard and scary.